Welcome to the Human Being Unleashed podcast, where we redefine, realign, and reimagine what it means to be human so that you can live a life with the health, wealth, and relationships that are inherently yours. So, hope you're digging the new podcast name. I hope you're digging it. Hope you're digging the new podcast cover that we put out for you guys. It took a lot of time coming up with the cover for sure. The name was really interesting. Like, we were dead set on a name. Like, I was dead set on a name maybe like 2-3 months ago. Like, I was like, all right, it's going to be this because the name of my company now. And with all that being said, like, the name of my company is different, and it was going to be pretty themed with the company, the new name, Potentia. And then it was going to be the Potentia effect. How does that sound? The Potentia effect. By the way, guys, Potentia is the root word of potential. So just thought I'd throw that out there. But anyways, okay. So, we're dead set on that name. And then all of a sudden one day, I am actually looking at other people's podcasts, like kind of going through other people's podcasts and like, I don't know, just looking at, like, kind of discovering, how on the podcast, this is what you might also like, or like, you may also like this, or check this out too. And so I was kind of just doing that, looking at a bunch of different podcasts, and then a name just hit me like so hard. And it was like, this is the name. And I was like, whoa, all right, this is totally the name. So, Human Being Unleashed, I love it. You could take it in so many ways, and it's just really exciting for me. So anyways, coming into this new year, new year, new podcast name, new podcast cover, new company name, new business model, and it's like it's so exciting. And along with that excitement, comes with a couple of lessons that I learned this year. And these lessons, it would have been awesome to have these before this year. However, I'm extremely grateful for the fact that I learned them when I did. And now that I think about it, I wouldn't have had it any other way. Because the way that I learned these things were so impactful for me that, it's like we learn through experience. And I truly believe that. And these things, I decided to take the time to really reflect, and I strongly encourage you to do the same. There's something about reflection, like sitting down and reviewing yourself, reviewing the way you've been acting, reviewing the progress you've made, reviewing the kind of decisions you made, the kind of energy you've been living in, and just just being able to take note of that. And I forgot who said it, but they said a life not reviewed, or a life not reviewed is not worth living. No, it's not reviewed. A life not. God dang it! I guarantee you, one of you guys know that exact quote right now. So definitely drop that in the show notes, or let me know. So So anyways, I decided to sit down and just ask myself, okay, now what did I really learn this year? Because this was a painful year for me in terms of decisions I had to make, and just shifting so much in my business in terms of literally letting go of an entire business. And that's it's kind of like a grieving period in a way. When people say businesses are just like businesses, they're not like personal, and they're not like a child and stuff like that. Like, I understand. I've never had a kid, but it's kind of like your baby, really, when you create something. And especially if it's like a strong service-driven company, Anyways, these 5 lessons that I'm about to break down were extremely pivotal for me. And I know if you can just get one of these things, it can be very, very life-changing for you. And the best part about it is you don't have to go through the shit I went through to learn it, which is the most beautiful part. So with that being said, I would strongly encourage you to really take this video. Take some notes along with this, just with the 5 points. These are the biggest things for me, and I know they're going to be big for you. And even if just one of these hits, and hit me up on Instagram. Let me know which one that was. Let's talk about it. And I'd love to just support you in any way I can. So the first thing is very, very, it's so obvious, but I feel like so many people don't do it. I know a lot of people don't do it. I know a lot of people personally who don't do this. And I had to learn the lesson with some of those people in a painful way. And that is, know what you actually want before you jump into something, especially if that is business. Like, know what you actually want before you dive into something, into a certain business model, into a certain, or really, I'm talking really business here. But you can take this lesson in many ways, in all areas of your life. But for me, it was very business related. And the way that I mean is, in one of the episodes, I believe so. In fact, it was episode 50. Episode 50, and you will see the title where it is Defining Your Reality and How to Do It. I strongly encourage you to go and check that out if you have not checked this out yet. But that plays a big part into this lesson of knowing what you actually want. Whenever I first got into business, and I first started making, some money. And when I mean some money, I mean like, like $10,000 a month. It's like, for the first time in your life, when you don't make money, it's like, whoa. And my mind instantly was like, okay, let's make as much money as I possibly can. And let's see how big we can get that monthly number. And the higher and higher it got, the more and more I lost myself. And, it got to a point where one day I went to my mom's house, and you will hear about this in episode 50. But one day I went to my mom's house. I'm going to just go over it real quick. And I decided I was looking for a phone charger in one of like the drawers. Homes just kind of have, drawers with chargers and stuff. So I grabbed one. And I mean, as I opened the drawer, I saw my old phone from like 2 years prior, like when I lived with my mom. And I was like, oh, snap. Like, I've been going through this phone in a while, out of curiosity. I wanted to turn it on. I turned the phone on and I start going through the messages. And I see my grandma, thread with my grandma who passed away about maybe a year prior, or like a year and a half prior to me like seeing my phone to this, like, from this memory. And basically she was asking me over and over again, like within the span of maybe like within the span of like 5 months, she asked me like 6 times if I wanted to go have lunch with her, go to her house and literally watch a movie at her house, like watch Everybody Loves Raymond. We used to love that show. And just take her to Payless and, just silly things like that. And each time I was like, Grandma, I'm too busy right now. I can't, and it's crazy because I ran my schedule at that time. Like I ran my own schedule. I could have done whatever I wanted. And I convinced myself that I had to work 100 hours a week because that's what other people said. And and it sucks because I was like, I hate talking about it because like it sucks. But that was like, the last months of her life, so I missed out on that. And I realized I was climbing a mountain that wasn't even mine, my business model and like what I really wanted did not require me to work 100 hours a week. What I really wanted did not require $100,000 plus a month. Like what I really wanted in terms of like out of my business. And it's not saying settling for less, but it's like saying getting real with your actual desires and like seeing what they actually are. And I realized that wasn't the kind of business I wanted. I didn't want a business that just churned and burned clients. I just brought in a bunch of clients on the front end and, made a lot of money, but did not build a reputable name for themselves. And I just didn't want that for myself. And I didn't want to live that life of working like hell. And then also, I got into a business partnership that, thankfully we're still great friends, but it just didn't work out. And, that was a very painful lesson. And going into it, we're like, we're going to turn this company into hundreds of millions of dollars. Like that's like where we want to go with this thing. And then realizing within that, we were partners for about 7 or 8 months, realizing within that time, that's not really what I wanted from this business in particular. I was like, this business in particular, like I want to be the transformation artist. I want to actually do the work because like I love being the transformation artist that people come and see. And I love being the one that gets to witness these breakthroughs and being so young and being so like into this world. I'm like, I really want to do this thing, and I really want to be I really want to get into speaking and like do all of that. But with that being said, hey, maybe this isn't the specific particular business or business model that makes it to the hundreds of millions of dollars. Do I have aspirations for big companies like that? Absolutely. Am I going to go for that in my lifetime? Absolutely. But I realize like, hey, maybe this business right here is going to be a vehicle for you to invest and be able to generate the wealth that you're looking for. But this business here, like, yes, you can easily make $50,000, $100,000 a month, right? But also you can make that money with my new business model, working 20 hours a week. And I realized, I was like, wow, with this business model, I'm actually living the life I want, and I can make way more money. And not only that, but it doesn't require me to, do what I was doing before. Right. And just getting real with that, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? And I had to make some difficult decisions. And, when you know what you want, it's very clear on how to get there. And you don't end up climbing the wrong mountain, which is like the big lesson in episode 50, is not climbing someone else's mountain and acting like it's yours the entire time till you get to the top and beat your chest and realize really quickly, holy shit, this mountain doesn't have my name on it. And that's basically what I was doing in a lot of like really the entire first half of my entrepreneurship, career, I guess. But so that was a big one for me. And I really, really do want to like put it across to you right now. Like, if you're not clear on what you actually want out of your life, like let me say that one more time. What you actually want out of your life, it's very, very foggy on the way. And anywhere you go, you're there. And that was a big thing for me. So, and especially for entrepreneurs, because I know a lot of people here who listen to this are an entrepreneur. It's very easy to get pulled in a million different directions at once. Comparison quickly sets in when you see everyone sharing their big revenue numbers and all of that. But when you think about it, when all you really wanted was a simple lifestyle, making $15,000 to $20,000 a month, so you can have that money to invest in crypto and stocks and build all this wealth, and just doing what you love, right? But your investments building all your wealth, and your business just serving your heart, and giving you a nice personal income, right? And but some business coach told you, scale to the moon, so you find yourself burning out and stressed the fuck out, and living like Elon Musk. Like, guys, I mean, like, I love what that guy's doing, but God, he has to be one of the most miserable people. I love that guy, but he really does look like he's in pain all the freaking time. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's not what I want out of this that I'm doing right now. And so, like, yes, I can still scale this thing to my 7 figures or whatever this takes me to. But am not going to force this business to be a $5 million a month business, and it's something that is fucking killing me. Right? So just know what you want before you really dive into something, especially entrepreneurship. Really, that's where like this came from for me. Next this is another business related one. But this can definitely take it in any area you want. But that is relationships beat tactics. Relationships beat tactics. And I met this one guy. I forgot his name, but he said like it was a trademark, which was really cool. He goes, conversations over algorithms, or conversations beat algorithms, something like that. And I was like, abso-freaking-lutely. It really does. All of my business growth recently, especially with the current business I'm doing, like really doing this and in my hypnosis. And this is like, all my current business is literally coming from just talking to people, connecting with people, genuinely interested in other individuals, genuinely interested in building a relationship at some level, some way, shape, or form, having a sincere desire to get to know that individual. That alone has gotten me in in conversations with people that I've never in my life thought I would have ever talked to. I have at this time of my life, it's so interesting the people I'm meeting, and thank God a lot of them are in Austin because I can actually hang out with them. But anyways, these relationships are turning into some of the biggest opportunities of my life. The connections I'm making, all of it. I've realized if I lost every penny I had, I would be okay because I know the right people and I can get back on my feet because of that. I would be okay. Relationships has been something that I'm just like, why did I take so goddamn long to come around to this thing? I used to treat business like only numbers, and then you realize the numbers are built by the people, and people are what run the organization, and it's like, it's all people, all right? The vision came from an individual, and it's like the people, it's human to human, so tactics will build something big. They definitely will, but without any real, relationship capital, without any real connections, your foundation, it really has no solidity, and it will always fall out. I know you can build certain kind of companies, SaaS models and all of that, but at the end of the day, don't you want quality, solid connections with people? I mean, it's so interesting to learn about people. It's like a whole nother world when they start talking. That is so interesting. Anyways, that is just a big thing for me. Next is always think 5 steps ahead of every decision. That is my third lesson of the year, is always, always, always think 5 steps ahead of every decision. Now, the number 5, where did that come from? Honestly, it just came up whenever I was really learning, whenever I was reflecting. I was like, all right, 5 steps. All right, great. Now, it doesn't mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I mean is map out all the possible consequences of this decision. And yes, you're not gonna think of every single possible thing that could potentially happen, right? The unexpected is always there. But imagine if you were able to prepare for the potential, right? That in itself will put you in a better position as opposed to just making decisions on the fly. Now, don't let this stop you impulsive decision makers. I'm an impulsive decision maker. I make fast decisions a lot. If you ask anybody I know, I remember one time I was asking, because I was listening to a podcast and they said, ask a bunch of people what your superpower is and you will see something in common. I asked a bunch of people. I asked 30 people, I think. And it was really interesting. In common, the overall theme was you do shit really fast. You think of something and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do it. And that is a very big strength because I'm minimizing time in between taking the action, which is a very big strength because it gets me further faster, right? So it's not this or that. It's not being an impulsive decision maker or somebody who sits down, thinks of every possible thing that can happen. Imagine if you sat down like that and thought of every possible thing. You literally wouldn't be able to live. So it's not about, how do I say this? It's not about sitting down and expecting the worst all of the time. No. But it's being very intentional with where your options are and with where each decision can possibly go, and then choosing the most sensible one, especially when it comes to big decisions. Yes, I'm an impulsive decision maker, and I'm also somebody who likes to weigh out my options, see what's the best thing for me and what I can potentially do, and then I'll make my decision based off of my best judgment. See, it's that and. There's no need for this or that. It's more and, okay? So with that being said, I encourage you to be, especially with big decisions, when it comes to starting businesses, when it comes to partnerships, especially, really sit down and map that out. What can potentially happen? Because I reviewed everything this year and I was like, okay, now, overall, everything was great when just the overall picture. But when I look at the times where I lost big chunks of money and just made big mistakes, I was like, okay, now what in common was happening with each of these mistakes? What the heck is happening here? And I saw one of the biggest things in common was failure to think out each possible consequence from the decision. Okay? So always think 5 steps ahead, especially on those big decisions. If this, then that. If this, then that. Cause and effect. All right? It's a process I plan on making a lot of money and impact with. So definitely map those decisions out. One of the things that I did, because I'm a visual person, it helps me, is I draw a big circle. I write out like the issue at hand or the decision I can make, and then I kind of like link it like a web. Like this can happen, and this can happen, and this can happen. Okay, which looks like my best. Okay, can I live with that if I were to make that decision? If it got all the way worse, can I live with that? Yeah, I can. All right, let's go for it. All right? And then massive action, quick action. All right? Now, the next thing I learned, I believe was very important for me, was it's okay to change your mind. Like, it is okay to change your mind. This is especially for my entrepreneurs who, because entrepreneurs like me who love building things end up fighting themselves a lot when they have new ideas they want to move on. Like, this really hit for me this year because I feel like we're all trained to make decisions about our careers and our identities and stick with them. Like, these are ultimate decisions and they're not fluid, right? And again, this makes entrepreneurs like me, like you, who love building things. I just love building things. It makes us fight ourselves because we have a lot of new ideas that we want to move on, right? And as a fitness coach, I literally felt like I was in a cage. Like, it was painful at a point. For the last 6 to 8 months of my fitness career, I honestly hated nearly every fucking thing about it. I hated nearly every bit of the business, and I wanted desperately to do something different. I honestly hated calling myself a fitness coach, but like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I wouldn't know what to say because I'm like, I'm a fitness coach, but it never felt right for me. And I also felt like I was supposed to stick to only one thing and see it all the way through. Like, you got to stick to one thing and one thing only. Look, that is an idea. It's an idea, but it is not a reality. There are some people that just naturally are visionaries. They have that kind of energy and they want to change course. As you evolve, you should change. You should grow. Your perspective should shift and grow, right? And look, I know I'm using the word should pretty strong here, and that's not my favorite word, but I'm using it right here, all right? Anyways, I felt like I was supposed to stick to only one thing. But remember, guys, minds change, and that is totally okay. You can be fluid as you want. You can do whatever you want. I forgot that one quote, and this is not quote word for word here, but it's definitely something along the lines of, birds fly all over the place, so why would you stay in one place? And birds can go anywhere. They got wings, and hey, we don't have physical wings, but we literally got wings. We got the power of choice, right? So minds change, and I do believe that, I know people evolve. And it's very normal for your mission to evolve along with that. So be okay with that when your mission starts to grow past what it currently is. Definitely be okay with that. And trust me, it is so liberating when you allow yourself to feel that. It's extremely liberating when you just allow yourself to be you. It's the most liberating thing. So it's a big one for me. And last but not least is your strength lies in your shadow. Your strength lies in your shadow. This most, what I would have to say if I were to pick one out of all these 5 in terms of which has been the most impactful for me and the biggest, I would say number 5. Your strength lies in your shadow. And, shadow work became a real big journey for me this year, especially towards this end of the year. As a hypnotist, I literally help, people heal the darkest parts of themselves by making them conscious of it. I'm not like the hypnotist that, just gives certain mental commands and certain suggestions to just get you where you're going, because that's kind of just throwing a lot of stuff on top of what's actually causing the problem in the first place. And, there's no running from your stuff when you work with me, right? It's like you become conscious of what's holding you back so you can you can transform it when you become conscious of it. Like, you got to become aware of that. And little did I know, I was like witnessing people embrace their shadow and turn it into light. I was witnessing people face the most hardest parts of themselves, the darkest parts of themselves in terms of ideas and thoughts about themselves that they didn't even know that they had, or they did know that they had, but they were rejected for so long. Seeing them, embrace this part of themselves is exactly what set them free from whatever else was holding them back in terms of what specific thing they come to me for. This is huge for me because growing up, there were so many parts of myself that I always rejected and turned away because I felt so damn ashamed about it. Like there was, I'm about to be really vulnerable here for a second, like very, but I love you guys. But one of the things that I shamed myself a lot about was I was a very sexually curious kid in the terms of I always I was always interested in sex, like no matter what. Since I was a little kid, like my first girlfriend ever, I was already like exploring what the heck this sex thing is. And with every other partner after, like my mind was there. And I thought that was such a horrible thing, like such a sin to be so curious about what sex is. And that alone, I felt so like wrong for that and shoving that part away. But the reality is that is the animalistic nature. That is like the animal part of ourselves. Like that part is a aspect of this personality. And there's nothing wrong with that. And let's be honest, kids are the most curious, weirdest little people. Like I've literally seen kids. I remember one time being at a park, and I was watching my nephew, and there was like 3 little boys all by this I don't know, it was like some kind of little mountain thing you can climb on. Anyways, and then like I straight up looked at them, and all of them were like showing each other their things, and I mean they were all like 3 years old, like they were really young. And hopefully, I'm pretty sure their parents saw them. I looked away immediately, but like that natural curiosity is a natural energy in us that we shut away, and that was like one of the things for me. And learning how to embrace these parts of ourselves is what makes us whole. And it's not about being good, it's about being whole. Like, again, I forgot who said it. Maybe Carl Jung, or if he didn't, somebody else. I need to get way better at figuring out who says the exact quotes that I remember. But it was, I'd rather be whole than good. Because it's not about being good. A good person is not somebody who says I can never kill somebody. A good person is somebody who says I can kill somebody, however, I just choose not to. Because they understand that there is an aspect, there is that aggression in them that absolutely can pull a trigger or kill somebody, do whatever. It's a part of themselves, they're not denying it. That is power. That is power. What you suppress and what we're least willing to face is typically what runs our life the most. Let me say that one more time. What we shove away and are least willing to face is typically what runs our life the most. Like my mentor says, and he probably got this from someone, but he says, what you resist, persist. It will persist until it expands, and it will expand until it explodes. All those compulsive parts of yourself, all of those painful emotions, all of those patterns that are very not fun We can just put it like that. Or coming from a part of yourself that has unmet needs, that's begging for your attention. So just remember, your strength lies in your shadow. It's truly in the darkness where light can only be seen. Light cannot be seen anywhere else. Light cannot be seen anywhere else. Okay? When it's all light and you shine more light, you can't even see it. In other words, when you're all, positive and positive and positive, and you act like nothing negative ever happens. And I know I was even like that at a point of my spiritual journey. All right. Like when I learned about all the law of attraction stuff, I was like, oh my God, only positive thoughts, not going to focus on anything negative, only positive. And I was shoving away so much parts of myself throughout that journey, and it made me unhealthier than you could possibly imagine. Although I was like in the best shape of my life, I was very unhealthy, energetically, emotionally. And, I came off a completely different way, and I acted like I was okay a lot of the times when I wasn't. This year was the first year of my life that I was fully okay with not being okay. And I understood what that felt like for the first time. And it felt fucking amazing. And it's crazy because, like, when you feel okay with not being okay, you're okay. It's crazy. And I used to think that you guys would think I was some kind of fraud if I had my own shit to deal with, because I'm this mindset guy and I shouldn't have this kind of shit to deal with. But I realized I'm a mindset guy because of the way that I handle my shit and the way that I deal with it and sharing it with you guys. And so those are my 5 lessons this year. And I really hope, one of those hit for you in some way, shape, or form. If I just wasted the last 31 minutes and 49 seconds of your time, I'm sorry. Actually, it's not 31 minutes because the podcast intro. Anyways, thanks a lot, guys. Hope this was a great podcast. Be on the lookout for some. I know I said this last podcast too, guys, but we got some amazing people coming on for interviews, and you're just gonna be excited. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and smack that subscribe button. Just open it up right now, whatever you're doing. If you're driving, if you're stopped, definitely do it. If you're not, pull over right now. Okay, open it up, smack that subscribe button so you never miss another episode. Smack that 5-star rating. So guess what Apple does? Boost the algorithm, and here I am popping up on other people's stuff, which means you're going to be spreading the impact more and more and more. Leave a review. What does that also do? That boosts the algorithm up so you get to spread the light more and more and more. Take a screenshot of this episode. Hit me up on Instagram. Tag me on Instagram. Put me on your story. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, fucking amazing 2022. I know it's going to be amazing. I know it's going to be like truly amazing for you. And it's going to be amazing for you because you're going to embrace every single part of it. Okay? That's why it's going to be amazing. So I'm going to be right there with you, seeing you here every single week. And I will see you guys next week for some more. Well, I honestly lost. I mean, I had no idea what I was about to say after that. I was like hoping that something would come up, but it didn't happen. So here's a pretty boring exit.